we're done. We've finished a race, which is really, really awesome. Jackie, what would your top tips be for recovery and also just why is it important to be thinking of these things?
Oh, it's so good when you cross that finish line. I love when you cross the finish line, you chat to all the people around you, congratulate each other. And it's just such a wonderful, warming feeling inside to know that you've just completed that and given your all. It's the best part of the race for me, that's for sure. Particularly if you've got another week's training coming up or you've got other things going on, you're going to drive home, you definitely need to be having some food as soon as you can after that race. So get some water down you because you're going to be really thirsty. And then I always really like a chocolate milk or a protein shake with some greens in if you can. I've always got that in my bag sort of ready, and that just replenishes lots of nutrients really very quickly. I do struggle to eat, so some solid foods are not the best thing for me, hence why I do like to take on some calories, some carbohydrates, some protein in liquid form if possible. And I will always have that in my bag close by to the finish because I think that first sort of half an hour is really, really important. Bit later on, when my tummy's recovered from all the excitement and taking on all the sugary gels and drinks, I'm always a fan of like a pizza or burger and chips or some carbohydrates, some pasta or a good big chicken sandwich or something like that is a great food to have after the race. And then a little bit of recovery too. Like I actually like to walk a little bit if you can, some stretching, maybe even ride just for 10 minutes if you've got time, just to flush those legs out a little bit as well.
That's brilliant. And that will definitely help with those sore feelings or the long distance that the muscles have been getting used to over race day. Ben, is there any other points that you'd love to chuck in there for recovery?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is that post-race active recovery always helps. A nice little spin or swim on the bike definitely helps the body recover and gets that blood circulating again. And then have that post-race debrief with your fellow competitors and run over the event, how your race panned out. You'll find that you've embraced some of the small little challenges along the way, same as everyone else. And you'll be able to learn from other athletes in how they negotiated or what they did. And that always helps for you to be able to get something back from the race if you didn't start it yourself. Just enjoy the post-race celebrations. You know, you've worked hard to get onto the start line and you've accomplished something that other people haven't. Take a moment to embrace what you've just achieved. I say you let your hair down loose and go wild.
Brilliant and really important to celebrate the effort and all the training. And also it's just so great to be around like-minded people who've jumped into the race as well. Is there anything else, guys, that you would mention around nutrition that might be around just timing during the stages or getting a good plan there before the race? Is there any other pro tips you've got around nutrition?
Yeah, I hope everyone practices their nutrition that they're going to do on race day. Like one of the big things you constantly see athletes getting caught up in what other people are doing. If you haven't done it in training, then I wouldn't recommend doing it on race day. If you've used a certain nutrition gel or drink or supplement sort of thing, stick to that come race day, because if you throw something in that you've never used before or the event that you're at uses a different nutrition, it's not really ideal. I know that some people, you're forced to do it. It's not always ideal that you can use your own nutrition. But in saying that, try to just do a little bit of research and find out what the event nutrition is so that you can sort of implement that into your training a few weeks before your race so that your body becomes familiar with it. So if you take on something new come race day, your body might have a bit of a reaction to it that you won't expect. So it's about just limiting those situations that you don't really want to be faced with on race day, because you've planned and you're prepared so well to get yourself on the start line. You want to do your best. Just those few little things. Yeah, take time to recover and recover well by eating good and nutritious food. Just go from there.
Brilliant. And Jackie, anything else final from your side or important just to tick off the week before the race to make sure that it's a success?
Yeah, I think we did mention earlier, just make sure you're not depleted that week before the race. It's certainly not the time to be losing kilograms and restricting calories. You actually need the energy more than anything to perform well. So don't overeat, keep the diet or keep your eating habits as normal as you possibly can. Don't go away eating lots of takeaways or curries. Just try and keep it quite simple. Lots of rice, pasta, just nice, simple foods like that. And then obviously during your race, it's great to know what you're going to be taking. But particularly in an off-road triathlon, it's just finding the opportunities of when you can take it. So it's all fair enough to say, try and get 5 gels in on the bike. But when you need your hands to hold onto the handlebars to go over all the technical sections of the course, it's actually not that easy to go in your pocket or reach on your top tube to get your nutrition. So practice that a little bit at home as well, and just find spots on the race course, a flat open stretch where there's not anything technical, where you can take a hand off the bar just for a minute or so, just to grab a gel and put the nutrition into your mouth. So that's again another arrive early so that you can go around the course and just look for those spots, or even come and ask Ben or I, like, where's a good place to take on board some gels and things like that, because we would hate to think you were going to crash or go over a technical section and you're trying to take a gel at the same time, because that's not great either. So just about being prepared and knowing what are the good spots to take on board any nutrition.
Brilliant. And very lastly, just anything that you may have seen from your own experiences or athletes on just what not to do. So just any major mistakes to avoid that might come to mind, unless we may have covered it.
Oh, what not to do. I think the main one is really the equipment. Don't use anything new or try anything different on race day. One of our athletes who is pretty awesome, he decided to put mountain bike tire tread on the bottom of his shoes. So he'd got trail shoes rather than normal running shoes, and he couldn't finish the race in the end because it was just an absolute disaster. So please don't try anything new on race day. Just stick to what you know.
That's a cracking example. And Ben, just from your side, just any major mistakes to avoid or things that you may have seen for people who might be taking their first time out there?
Yeah, I suppose people don't anticipate as off-road athletes how agile you have to be, and ducking, weaving, jumping, dodging sort of thing. You are faced with a lot of different movements, and I think Vaseline or some sort of petroleum jelly could be your best friend, especially in terms of, chafing and that sort of thing. I always find a lot of athletes, it's one of the little things that they tend to forget. Lubing yourself up and your body parts up can be your best friend. And I always think that if you're comfortable in your attire and if you're comfortable racing, you'll perform well. It's those little things like those rashes or those blisters on your feet that are the most painful things. They're so small, yet they're so painful. I can push through with tired or sore legs and painful legs and sore and arms, but those blisters and the chafing, oh man, it sort of brings you to your knees in a way. So using Vaseline and some sort of baby oil or petroleum jelly or something like that, cooking oil, olive oil, seen it all, can be your best friend on race day.